Tom has made it abundantly clear after the Celebration Bowl that he wants to beat people to sleep. That is his words, not mine. He wants to go undefeated. He wants to win the Celebration Bowl, and he wants to blow out every single opponent. He wants to be dominant, and a part of being dominant is putting the right pieces in place through recruiting in the transfer portal, which he has been utilizing heavily. Now, today, I'm going to be showing you just how deep they are at the wide receiver position. This wide receiver room for Jackson State is arguably the best, the most talented in the entire FCS. This is a receiving core who consists of at least 6 4-stars. But I'm pretty sure it's 7 because one of them had their rating dropped once they committed to Jackson State. But in all, about 7 4-star receivers and more. By the way, this list that I'm about to show you is in no particular order. This is not a depth chart. This is just who they have on the team. Again, no particular order. So let's get started. Now, first up, the obvious, Travis Hunter. Yes, he is a cornerback, but he will also be playing receiver. That we know. He's going to be playing both ways. And a lot of people will say he's a more talented wide receiver than he is DB, and he's a really good DB. So I should tell you just how great he is at receiver. At 6'1", 185, man, Travis not only put on a bunch of muscle in the offseason, man, but he just has exceptional ball skills. He did not lose that speed. We all know just how far he can get in the air to snag that thing. We've seen him go viral multiple times throughout his high school career. He's the #1 recruit in the country. So he's just a generational talent. He is just a generational talent. So look forward to him. He's not going to get the most playing time on offense, but he's going to get packages designed for him, and he's going to make a lot of highlight catches this upcoming season. As you saw a little bit of a preview in the spring game when he caught 2 interceptions and 2 touchdown catches. Now, moving on, a guy who I am very much excited about, 4-star wide receiver, Quay Davis, who is a redshirt freshman. Now, we were all excited when we saw Quay Davis commit to Jackson State. I think I was the first to break that news. The very first highlight of that video was him leaping over a defender and taking it to the house for a very long touchdown. The guy is a freak of nature. Former 4-star recruit, could have went anywhere he wanted to. He chose Jackson State. He redshirted last season. Now he's ready to be let off the leash. I mean, dude, you're looking at a guy who's drawn comparisons to Anquan Bolden. That's just how good he is, right? Quadarius Davis is going to be, they're talking about using him as a Deebo Samuel type guy in this upcoming offense. He can very much be the X factor. Who knows? Who knows? But we know Quay Davis is going to come out the gate swinging. He is a guy who a lot of us have been waiting the whole year to see. And now, gratefully, we're less than 40 days away from seeing that in action. So, Quay Davis, the first 4-star guy we got up here. Now, next up, we got 4-star receiver Travonte Wrecker, who is going into his sophomore season. Travonte Wrecker came out the gate week 1 versus FAMU swinging. I mean, 2 big-time catches in that game. And, throughout the season, he didn't fade in the background, but, you kind of, other guys kind of stepped up, seniority, a seniority thing. Keith Corbin and all those guys. But Travonte always stayed the course, man. At 5'11", 175 pounds, he's going to be that dog. Next up, 4-star receiver, former 4-star receiver, Malakai Weidman. We know what Malakai Weidman does. Redshirt sophomore. Malakai Weidman came onto the season late. He came on very late, and he still was able to tie the SWAC in touchdowns, I believe, with 12. He was still able to catch 34 catches for 540 yards. I mean, that is insane production for a guy who came in midway through the season and still finished strong. He quickly became Shador's favorite target, and we know that momentum is going to keep going into next season. So after Malakai, you got the #1 slot receiver in the country, Kevin Coleman, the #1 slot receiver in the country. Y'all, we ain't even halfway through this list, and the guys that I've named already is crazy. Kevin Coleman, 5'11", 170 pounds, borderline 5-star recruit, but I think he just missed that mark. 4-star guy. Now, Kevin Coleman, has been bodying people everywhere he went. Not only during his time in high school, at the Adidas All Under Armour, not the Under Armour, but the Adidas All American game against some of the top competition in the country who is now at FBS Power 5 school. He's been outperforming them. He's been routing them up. He gets to Jackson State. He's still routing up DBs. He's still making plays. Kevin Coleman is a guy who I am willing to bet the house on is going to be a day one starter. I mean, nobody has been able to stop him since he stepped on campus. Nobody's been able to stop him in high school. He's a firecracker. So look for him and Shador to get that connection going early enough in week 1 in Miami. After Kevin Coleman, you got former 4-star recruit Rico Powers, who is a redshirt sophomore transfer from the University of South Carolina. He just came in this season. Rico Powers, at 6'2", 190 pounds, is a pure route runner. Now, although he did not work out at South Carolina, a lot of kids did not work out at South Carolina. Shane Beamer is really revamping that program, so a lot of guys have to find somewhere else to go. Luckily for Jackson State, he chose them. Now, Rico Powers, again, bona fide route runner, excellent hands, right? Just a very quick guy who can create separation well. And you're going to be looking at him. I don't know if he's going to be first team, second team, or whatever, but you're going to be looking at him making a lot of plays in Jackson, Mississippi. Man, I just can't wait to see these dudes live in action, right? So Rico Powers, another 4-star recruit. Next up, after Rico Powers, though, you got Mark Pope from Miami, the speedy former 4-star receiver from the University of Miami. He has officially touched down on campus. That I can confirm. He is there, Jackson State fans. Y'all don't even got to worry no more. Now, Mark Pope is 6'1", 180 pounds, and he's a junior. Now, at his time in Miami, I think he totaled 33 receptions, 403 yards, and 2 touchdowns in his final season for the Hurricanes. And now, he entered the transfer portal. Miami kind of wished him well, as there were a lot of fans who were excited that Coach Prime was getting them. A Miami page actually said Coach Prime is getting the dog. After Mark Pope, you got Johannes Fertillion, a 3-star prospect. Some people said he was a 4-star, which is why I said, there's 6 4-stars on this list, but there really could be 7. Johannes, man, is 6'3", 210 pounds. He is college ready right now just by his body, just by his build, the wingspan, the muscle tone, the height. He has it. Oh my God, does he has it. Now, Johannes is a matchup nightmare for anybody who is not close to his height. Seriously. He has the speed, he has the hands, the wingspan, right? He knows how to use his body well when it's time to make those plays and get those catches. Johannes is a guy who, when he steps on the field, he's going to make an impact. The question is, when is that going to be? Because, like I said, Jackson State is completely loaded at receiver. After Johannes Fertillion, you got Cam Buckley, the transfer wide receiver from Texas A&M, who is making a name for himself in camp for Jackson State through the workouts and everything like that. He's been impressing, that I can tell you. Now, Cam Buckley is a grad student, so this will be his last season of eligibility, right? 6'2", 200 pounds. His last season at Texas A&M, he had 34 catches, 474 yards, and he averaged 13.9 yards per catch. 13.9 yards per catch. Yeah, let that sink in. Also, he had a touchdown to go with that. Texas A&M is one of the most talented rosters at the FBS level. So, he left. He was transferred. We don't know the reason why. I'm not going to even try to speculate it. But Jackson State is very happy that they got this guy. Just know that he's been making a name for himself. After Cam Buckley, you got Dallas Daniels, one of the grad transfers in this past offseason as well. Dallas Daniels is a bona fide route runner. At 6'1", 180 pounds, man, can this dude create separation. I'm showing you the practice clips, even though he has game film. I just feel like with the practice clips, you'll be able to see more of his route running ability and how he's able to get open and make those catches. Now, Dallas Daniels, in his last year at Western Carolina, he had 44 catches, 525 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he averaged 11.9 yards per catch. So basically 12 yards per catch. That's a guy who you can look to early and often in the drive, or you can definitely rely on third down situations. Dallas Daniels is most likely going to work his way into that starting lineup. I'm saying most likely because I am not sure, but this is just my opinion. Now, after Dallas Daniels, Shane Hooks, the senior, the transfer from the University of Ohio, 6'4", 205. The thing about Shane Hooks is that he was really redshirted last season. You saw him suit up, but he played the amount of games that the NCAA allows you to play, and while still able to be to retain your redshirt status. So he actually has another year. He's not even really a senior. Shane Hooks has another year, and Shane Hooks last year in that limited amount of games that he played, 16 catches, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's now back. And I'm willing to, first of all, I can bet the house that Shane Hooks is in that starting lineup. He's earned that. He's been impressing a lot of people. They wanted him to get more aggressive, and just up his play, and he's done that. That I can tell you. So Shane Hooks will be in that starting lineup. I'm willing to bet the house on that. Now, after Shane Hooks, you got another transfer from Dodge City Community College, Willie Gaines Jr. I actually interviewed him during my spring special. Willie Gaines is a speedster. If anybody wanted a replacement for Warren Newman, you got it with Willie. That's who he is in a nutshell. That's the best way to describe Willie Gaines, right? In community college, though, he had 24 receptions, 479 yards and 2 touchdowns. And of course, he also provides a big spark in the return game, whether that's punt return or kick return. Willie Gaines is a Swiss Army knife. Kind of reminds me of a Jalen Red for Oregon, but what they used to be. And I know Coach Bartolone is going to get very creative when giving Willie the ball. And after Willie Gaines, you got Christian Allen. We know who Christian Allen is, the redshirt sophomore, right? The guy who's been there. See, Christian Allen is 5'10", 190 pounds. And man, we got a whiff of him during the spring game, all right? Redshirt sophomore. I think he had 4 catches for 27 yards. That's only because he was an underclassman in Jackson State's receiving corps last year. Not even as loaded as they are this year, but they were loaded. They were loaded, so he got limited time. But in the limited time that he did, he made things work for him. This is a guy who you expect to up his production once he gets more reps inside the game. So look out for Christian Allen. And also the last two, David Studstill, who's a junior, and Kobe Paul, who is a redshirt freshman. Guys, this receiving core should easily put Shedeur Sanders over 4,000 yards and 35 to 40 touchdowns. That is my projection for that. Being said, you're watching the CFL podcast. I go by the name of Kobe. I'm out.